I've sent over 100 million emails and audited hundreds of accounts. The number one thing that kills a brand's retention strategy before it even starts is their tech stack. Most founders pick software because it's cheap or because they saw a YouTuber recommend it, and they don't pick it based on deliverability, attribution, or even the capabilities that the software has. And this is a massive mistake. So today we're fixing it, and I'm taking every major email platform that I've ever used and ranking them on our standard tier list. So we're covering the good, the bad, and the absolute trash. We've got Klaviyo, HubSpot, OmniSend, and SendLane. And we're even throwing in outliers like Maestra and Constant Contact. I'm looking through this with one lens only. Does the tool help e-com brands scale revenue? And if the answer is no, then it's likely going to be at the bottom. I'm Nikita from AspectAgency.com, and let's dive in. So here we have our tier list pulled up, and we have Kit, Beehive, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Aweber, OmniSend, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, Klaviyo, Maestra, and SendLane. So we have a pretty good selection to pick from. Let's just start off with a very easy one. We're gonna go with MailChimp, and we're just gonna go ahead and throw it in D tier. Why do we throw it in D tier? Well, a few reasons. Number one, it's the most entry-level software that you can have on the email and SMS side. It was the king earlier in like the late 2000s and early 2010s because that is the only like user-friendly-ish platform. But eventually, halfway through the 2010s, Google started marking every single email that comes from MailChimp and MailChimp servers into promotions. So it's really bad on the deliverability side. The customization on the email side, it's okay if you're just running a mom and pop shop or if you're running an Etsy store. But if you're trying to actually maximize the amount of revenue that you're making from each and every customer that you have in your email platform, it is not a good software. It's hard to track purchases, it's hard to track revenue, it's hard to segment users, and the automation capabilities are very, very limited. So it's D tier for a reason. I highly recommend anyone that is on MailChimp, whether you're watching right now or if you're even considering it, to just not do it. You'll have to switch eventually, and that'll probably be in a very short turnaround time. So just getting all that set up, you might as well just go with the right platform all at once. Next up is we have Aweber. Now Aweber I'll put into C tier. I would definitely put it in D tier if we were just going off of ecom, which we are, but I put it at C tier because it's all right as an email sending platform, like if you're just trying to send off newsletters or anything like that. But when it comes to email and ecom integration, it could be done better. It's one of the more legacy tools out here. It's like if MailChimp never evolved, if that makes any sense. Actually, you know what, now that I think about it, I would probably put MailChimp above Aweber because of the utilization. So actually Aweber goes into D tier because it's just a more outdated version of MailChimp. And I would honestly rather use MailChimp over Aweber any day, even if the deliverability is going to be taking a hit. So Aweber is very limited in the amount of segmentation you can do, in the amount of designing you can do. The builder is from like 2013, so a lot to love on the Aweber side, but I think if they just improved their integrations, improved their builder, and improved the amount of customization you can do, I think we could do a lot more with Aweber. And speaking of Aweber and having that same sort of stack, I would probably put Constant Contact in between C and D. I'd probably put it in C because they do have a really good builder. The UI is very easy to use and very easy to navigate. The pricing is pretty good. It's like if Aweber did update their builder and did update their segmentation tools. So Constant Contact has been a pleasure to work with. But again, just like Aweber, Constant Contact is very focused on B2B rather than B2C and the e-commerce side. So with that lack of focus, there comes a lack of integration between specific softwares on the e-com side. There's a limitation on the amount of customization you can do within the platform, like specific dynamic images or dynamic tags based off of customer activity. So I think there's a lot to love with Constant Contact, but I think it's not quite there when you're looking at, you know, the best email platform you can have on the e-com side. Speaking of B2B and e-com, I would probably put HubSpot in C tier as well. HubSpot, if we're looking at just B2B, HubSpot is amazing. You have the CRM integration, you have sales pipelines, you have follow-ups, etc. So when it comes to selling something to another business, it is amazing at keeping track of that and all the different customizations. Now, it is very clunky. Actually, you know what? Let me change that. It's going down by Aweber. I'm starting to remember all the Vietnam flashbacks from utilizing HubSpot. We haven't touched HubSpot, or at least I haven't directly touched HubSpot in over a year now, but like thinking back to it now, it is such a pain in the ass to try and figure out what goes where, trying to navigate the platform. And I completely forgot about their pricing system because our clients typically pay for the software and we don't cover that. But they have a free tier and then it's like thousands of dollars a month after that. So if you're trying to utilize it to the most, you have to really want to burn a lot of money for not that much usability. So in that sense, HubSpot deserves to be in D tier. If you were to look at the pricing versus value that you're trying to get as an e-commerce brand, MailChimp, actually funny enough, has way more capabilities than HubSpot and is a lot easier to use than HubSpot and even more cost efficient than HubSpot. Going over to the next few ones, we have ActiveCampaign. Now ActiveCampaign, I'm gonna put into B tier. Now why am I putting ActiveCampaign into B tier? Like HubSpot, I actually think of ActiveCampaign to be HubSpot, but better. They have great B2B utilization, but at the same time, they actually worked on the integration side for when it comes to Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, any of these other e-commerce platforms, because you can have abandoned checkout, abandoned cart, abandoned browse, welcome, post-purchase, all of these different emails that you need to have go out. It's very fluid. The platform is a little cumbersome, but that comes with its advantages. HubSpot is cumbersome to use when it comes to like actually just getting an email out. With ActiveCampaign, it's pretty easy to send out an email, but it's cumbersome when you want to get more technical and when you want to customize more of what you're trying to do. It's great in that customization scene, but it can be a little complicated with the tagging system or the lead scoring system that they have set up or the automations that they have, which is it's a benefit and a drawback. In the way that it's complicated, if you know how to navigate that complexity, it's amazing when it comes to having a hyper custom solution for what you're trying to have within your store. But it may be hard to navigate. The pricing is a little iffy, and their builder, at least from my experience, has been a bit cumbersome and lackluster. It's not as fluid and is not as customizable as some of the other platforms we have on that list. So I think it's a good option, but I think there's better options out there if you're trying for a specific e-commerce solution. If you have an e-com brand with a B2B division, I think ActiveCampaign is great. But if you're purely e-com, I think you can go for other solutions. Speaking of other solutions that are purely e-com, but just not as good, Maestra. I think Maestra is probably D tier, which I hate to say it, I would rather use MailChimp than Maestra, mainly because I've only handled a handful of accounts on Maestra and it's a very unknown platform. But I wanted to include it on here. It is very complicated to navigate. Everything has to be done in HTML or coding. The customization and the triggers aren't working as well. A lot of the builder sections are just not good and almost like half-baked. So I think they tried to do a good job with it, but again, I would rather use ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, and Constant Contact over Maestra. And the thing is, since it's a very niche platform, there's not a lot of tutorials, there's not a lot of videos. Like you need to almost be a developer with a developer mindset in order to use something like Maestra. So that's going in D tier. Moving on to some of these newsletter-based platforms, Kit and Beehive, I would consider to be the same, like same, but different, but still same. They're really great. If we're talking about creator platforms, like if you're running a YouTube channel or if you have a newsletter that you're running as a creator, they're S tier. By far, one of the best platforms that you can use. Very simple, very easy. The pricing is concrete. But when it comes to e-commerce and integration, unless you're selling like a program or an info product or something digital that doesn't require physical like fulfillment and physical nurture, they lack in those sections. So I think they're really good for having something like a founder-led message go out to your newsletter subscribers of 10, 15, 20,000. But when it comes to actual e-commerce sales, there's better platforms out there. Now we're down to the final three. SendLane, I would put at A tier. Now the reason I put it at A tier is because just like ActiveCampaign is a little cumbersome to use and a little complicated to use at times, SendLane is in that same ballpark where it's really easy to use for 90% of users, but if you're trying to be a power user, like ourselves as an agency, it gets really, really difficult to use certain features, as in like spacing out specific columns or spacing out specific texts or text customization, all those certain things that may require CSS on the back end that an agency like us will use. It's a bit harder to use with SendLane. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great platform for, again, 90% of users, but those edge cases, which us as an agency encounter on a day-to-day basis because of our clientele base and the amount of emails that we send out on a daily and weekly basis, it's important for us to use a platform that not only is easy to use for the client, but also easy to use for a power user. They have amazing support. I mean, I've worked with the SendLane team directly for over a year, and they've been nothing but amazing to work with. But when it comes to using the platform, I think there's a lot more to love there. And when it comes to the customization, you have to do a little bit extra. Like the design that you have set up in Figma or Photoshop or Illustrator, to have it be perfectly side by side with SendLane, it takes maybe 50% more work than some of these other platforms that we have listed on here. Speaking of some of these other platforms, OmniSend. I would put OmniSend, if I could, between S and A tier. I'm gonna just put it on S tier because they have great pricing, great customer support. I've been working with the OmniSend team as well for over a year. We've had a few clients on OmniSend. They're really, really honing in on the e-commerce side, and they are trying to master it as well as Klaviyo. With that said, I think they're doing a great job at a very great price point, great support. There's definitely more tutorial videos and more support when it comes to building something out in OmniSend, and there's more talent out there. So if you're looking for an agency or if you're looking for a freelancer, most of them have touched OmniSend. Most of them have touched SendLane. Almost all of them have touched Klaviyo. So when it comes down to it, OmniSend is a great solution when it comes to having something at a reasonable budget, easy to use, easy to work on, easy for an agency to plug in, easy to have a question answered if you do need something specific set up. So I think OmniSend is a great S tier, A tier-ish, like it's like SA, it's like half an S, half an A. So I think that's a really good solution. And coming up to the last one, the Goliath, Klaviyo, I would put them in S tier. I'm not trying to glaze Klaviyo, but they are by far the best tool when it comes to e-commerce email marketing. There's a reason why they're a multi-billion-dollar company and that they are a public company. Maybe obviously for money and shareholder value, whatever, I'm not gonna get into it. But when it comes to catering to an audience of e-com brand owners, freelancers, and agencies, they have everything. And when it comes to working on the B2B side and the B2C side, they have probably the biggest integration list I've ever seen. It's very easy to integrate. Customer support could be better. As of the last few months, if I needed something or if I needed support to answer, they've been really quick. Maybe not as quick as SendLane or OmniSend, but quick enough to the point where I'm not looking at other service providers. Yes, the pricing isn't good. Pricing could be improved. It is on the more expensive side, but I am of the opinion that if you want something to work really, really well, and if you want some of the best software for your specific use case, like an e-commerce store, you're gonna have to pay a premium. It's almost like paying a premium for having the best kind of reach on Facebook ads or Google ads, or having the best agency service. You're gonna have to pay a premium. So in my opinion, I think Klaviyo is S tier, and that is what everyone else in the industry is trying to follow. OmniSend always compares themselves to Klaviyo. SendLane always compared themselves to Klaviyo. Same thing with MailChimp. I don't know if MailChimp even freaking cares because they're now part of TurboTax and Intuit, but all of these people are trying to chase the Goliath that is Klaviyo. And it's hard to say with doing so many transfers from Klaviyo to SendLane or to OmniSend, it's not been as smooth of a transition for some brands. And while, yeah, you do save money in certain aspects of monthly subscriptions, or maybe the amount of contacts that you utilize, or the amount of emails that you send out, the amount of time and effort that it takes to transfer out of Klaviyo to a different platform that is not as good as Klaviyo, it's quite cumbersome. And you're almost trying to fit a square peg into a round hole where it just doesn't work out. So I think at the end of it, Klaviyo is S tier, and it is our preference when it comes to working with clients. Obviously, we've worked with clients with all of these different tiers and with all these different softwares, but when it comes down to it, if we can get a client to switch to Klaviyo, that is ideal, because not only does it make our jobs easier, it makes it easier to report to the client, it makes it easier to integrate with the client, and if the client wants to offboard and they want support on that specific tool, there's hundreds of thousands of videos about Klaviyo, how to use specific things. I mean, look at my YouTube channel. There's so many videos on what to do with Klaviyo. So it's easy to integrate, it's easy to do it yourself, it's easy to get a freelancer or an agency to work on it, and at the end of the day, it is the easiest tool to use when it comes to being a power user as well as a brand owner if you want to do things yourself. That being said, What do you think of the tier list? Do you think it's based? Do you think it's cringe? Do you think I could have done better? Do you think I put something in the wrong tier? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you need help transferring any softwares from a different software, or if you just want us to take a look at your email account and see where the money's hiding, hit the link down below to claim your free email audit. I'll personally look over your account and provide you with exactly what the bottlenecks are within the email account and how much money you could be making on the email side. That being said, YouTube thinks you're gonna love this video right here, so go ahead and check that out afterwards. It's Nikita, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.